Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here, and welcome to another video. And in today's video, we're going to answer the common question that's come up an awful lot, certainly since the return of Uncle Howdy and of course the Wyatt Sicks. Will Bo Dallas portray the Fiend? Wyndham Rotunda's arguably greatest and most popular creation in the world of WWE. We're going to answer that question, but before that, we're of course going to discuss the Uncle Howdy promo, the latest shenanigans from this week's episode of Raw, and also we're going to talk about when the Wyatt Sicks are going to wrestle. When are we going to see the members in the ring? Now, to answer the first question, well, not really a question, more going into depth about the Uncle Howdy promo of this week, I thought it left a lot to the imagination. Now, of course, Abby the Witch has been terrifying Pat McAfee and Michael Cole on commentary and delivering these VHS tapes over the last few weeks. Now, the very obvious thing to note here is the VHS tapes are flashbacks. This is before the Wyatt Sicks debuted, but you can see the change in demeanour with Bo Dallas. Before, he was sort of resisting Uncle Howdy, questioning Uncle Howdy, and now he has become Uncle Howdy. In the past, in the previous storyline, of course, alongside his brother, he was portraying Uncle Howdy to protect his brother. After all, it was lie for me, brother. No, not what you said. Use me for cover. Uncle Howdy was part of Bray Wyatt's darkest psyche, and he was using his brother Bo Dallas to portray Uncle Howdy. If you go all the way back to Extreme Rules and the return of Bray Wyatt, the plan was clear and set from the off there. We saw all the members of the Firefly Funhouse come to life in their second form, and of course the Fiend, and obviously Bray coming out as Uncle Howdy. And I think that would have been the Wyatt Sicks. We would have seen the new Fiend unleashed in WWE. Sadly, we never got to see Wyndham's final creation, but that was the plan all along. Uncle Howdy would have been portrayed by Bo Dallas, but in slightly different physical form. And now it seems like the psyche Uncle Howdy has transformed and taken over Bo Dallas, and now Bo Dallas is embracing it. Remember in the promo, he said, "Do you think I?" hesitated and then said, "Do you think we are sick?" "Yes, I do," was the response. "Then sick is what we will be." Obviously, this was a flashback before the lead up to the debut of the Wyatt Sicks, but Bo Dallas fully embracing Uncle Howdy, in a way becoming Uncle Howdy. It's almost like he has this darker alter ego in Howdy alongside him now as part of his psyche, like what we saw with Bray. And I absolutely love that. After all, Uncle Howdy is everything. He has even said in the past, "I am all of us." He is all the Firefly Funhouse characters. He is everything. He's the puppet master. He's the one in control. He's the ultimate master. And when you've got powerful lines like, "But now we must set the captives free, so they need no master," I think he's referring to the actual creation that was in Bray Wyatt's head all along, the Firefly Funhouse puppets, but this time coming to life. And he preyed on vulnerable people. "My family, I took those that no one wanted, the discarded, the forgotten. I gave them a purpose. They're so happy that you remembered them." And I think that's a message to us, the fans, remembering the Firefly Funhouse, remembering the puppets, remembering how powerful and how dominant Bray Wyatt was around that era, around the Fiend era. And we, as fans, have not forgotten, and we are embracing and welcoming Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy. I absolutely love the devil in the details here. Also, on a slight side note, what on earth was Bo Dallas doing in Adam Pearce's office? What is going on there? Is Adam Pearce secretly in on the Wyatt Sicks? What a turn that would be. Ah, now it's starting to make sense. Maybe it's Postman Pearce who's been delivering the parcels to Abby the Witch. There's so many layers to this storyline. Before, we thought that the Fiend was the higher power. He was the master of the Firefly Funhouse. But actually, it's Uncle Howdy that is pulling the strings. And he preys on the lost, the vulnerable, the abandoned, people that are in pain. And he gets them to fully embrace the darkness so that they can be the best versions of themselves. Now Uncle Howdy is controlling the Wyatt Sicks. And talking about the Wyatt Sicks, of course, in this promo, we saw all the male members of the Wyatt Sicks unmasked, but actually Abby the Witch was not seen unmasked. And of course, this is a question that comes up a lot amongst fans. A lot of people have been asking why Nikki Cross wasn't unmasked and wasn't revealed. Now, I don't think there's too much into this, other than if you look at the actual Firefly Funhouse puppets and what they stood for, Mercy the Buzzard was, of course, a representation of Waylon Mercy. Ramblin' Rabbit was a representation of the fact that Wyatt used to get slated for rambling on in his promos and not getting to the point. Of course, Huskus the Pig Boy represented Husky Harris, a stage in Bray Wyatt's career where, of course, he wasn't in the best of shape and used to get criticism because of it. And Abby the Witch was a representation of Sister Abigail. Now, I think Sister Abigail would lose the mystique, the aura, if you unmasked her. There's no need to. The character and what that stands for needs to be kept as a bit of a, not a mystery, because we all know it's Nikki Cross, but in terms of physical form, I think there's no need to unmask Abby the Witch in the storyline perspective. Keep a bit of mystique. An element of, why didn't you unmask her when you unmasked the others? It gets people asking questions, just like we have been. Another question, of course, that comes up an awful lot: when are the Wyatt Sicks going to wrestle? Are we going to see Uncle Howdy, aka Bo Dallas, wrestle at SummerSlam? Now, I'm not quite sure where they're going with this storyline arc. At the moment, it seems very clearly that the first target from the Wyatt Sicks is Chad Gable. They seem to be haunting poor old Chad Gable. They absolutely destroyed him in that massacre upon their debut. And they seem to, ever since, be going after Chad Gable. But maybe they're throwing us off guard and their actual intended target is Jey Uso. Now, I think that's highly unlikely because Jey Uso is a babyface, and I'm assuming the Wyatt Sicks are a babyface faction. I mean, it wouldn't feel quite right if this is a faction to honour the legacy of Bray Wyatt and then it's a full-on heel faction. I don't think initially that's where they're going to go. So it'd be unlikely, but I'm interested to see how this angle with Chad Gable goes. Are we going to see Chad Gable hook up alongside the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile, and there's a faction there, and we have that faction take on the Wyatt Sicks? Or are we going to get Chad Gable versus Bo Dallas in a one-on-one match? Is he going to wrestle in the Uncle Howdy attire? Like, I've got so many questions with this. Like, when are we actually going to see the in-ring debut? I can't see them wrestling in the masks, with the exception of Abby the Witch and Uncle Howdy. I think the other members will actually just take off the mask, similar to what we really saw in physical form from Bray Wyatt at the Royal Rumble before he put that mask on. They could do a face paint job. I think it could work without the mask, but when they come upon their entrance, they wear the mask. When they come out as a family, they all wear the mask. That would visually look amazing. But I can't see Dexter Lumis wrestling in that Mercy the Buzzard mask. I really can't see it, to be honest with you. I mean, think about it logically. That would be a terrifying weapon, wouldn't it, really? That mask in itself would absolutely destroy people in the ring. But I don't think they're going to do that. But who knows? Now, this is just my personal opinion, but I think it would be so fitting if Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy, made his in-ring match debut at SummerSlam, purely and simply because, of course, The Fiend made his in-ring debut at SummerSlam 2019 against Finn Balor, and that was absolutely groundbreaking. It was awesome. Honestly, when The Fiend had his in-ring debut, I got goosebumps, genuine goosebumps, and I think I'd get the same with Uncle Howdy and his entrance and him having that debut match at SummerSlam. What a fitting tribute to his brother. That would be absolutely awesome. And of course, the obvious question comes up so much, and we've addressed it in this video so many times, so I'm not going to overkill it. But what about the return of Alexa Bliss? Is she going to be part of the Wyatt Sicks? I honestly think she will be. I can't really see how she won't be. And in this next topic, I'm going to sort of blend in how Alexa Bliss could return and be part of this faction, and it makes sense from a storyline perspective. And after all, she's been spotted training away, so her return surely is going to be soon. Now, of course, they might return Alexa Bliss at Bad Blood. I mean, it's a very fitting return in regards to the Wyatt Sicks. That PLE literally screams the Wyatt Sicks, so maybe we don't see the full in-ring debut of the family until Bad Blood on October the 5th in Atlanta, Georgia. Potentially, just throwing it out there, but I think that would be a while to wait until we see them in ring. I think we'll see them a lot sooner than that, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now let's address the main question. The answer that you've probably been waiting for. Will we see the return of the Fiend, i.e. Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy, portray the Fiend, or even somebody else take on Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda's final creation in the Fiend? Now, my personal opinion is I don't think anybody else should portray the Fiend, even Bo Dallas. And I don't think now it would even make sense for Bo Dallas to portray the Fiend, because Bo Dallas has his own darker alter ego in Uncle Howdy. Bo Dallas seemingly has become Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas are one. Like, that is Bo Dallas's character, Uncle Howdy. Would Wyndham have wanted his brother to portray the Fiend? Who knows? The answer may well have been yes, but I feel this was unique to Wyndham himself. This was his personal creation, his darkest alter ego in the Fiend, and I feel it should be kept like that. I really do. Now, in terms of a storyline arc, you could potentially have Alexa Bliss take on a female version of the Fiend. Now, if you think about the story of the Fiend, you cannot leave Alexa Bliss out. First and foremost, the Fiend took control, took over Alexa Bliss. That's where we saw Dark Alexa Bliss. Then Bliss gained control of the Fiend. She returned the Fiend, the burnt version of the Fiend, resurrected the Fiend at Fastlane, and then resurrected him to his original form at WrestleMania 37, where of course she kept him in the Jack in the Box and then released him from that Jack in the Box at WrestleMania 37, and then of course cost the Fiend against Randy Orton on the grandest stage of them all, arguably betrayed the Fiend, went her own way, claimed that she was the one in charge, and then Uncle Howdy took over Bray. Uncle Howdy went after Alexa Bliss. So what I was seeing from the storyline was, before, both of them tried to have the power alone, if you like, and then eventually they realized they were both just servants to Uncle Howdy, and then you might have had the male version of the Fiend and the female version of the Fiend. Wyndham's newest and greatest creation, of course, what we saw from the Bray Wyatt documentary, and then a new version, a version we'd never seen before of Alexa Bliss, a darker version of Alexa Bliss via the Fiend. Now, of course, you can't rule off there being a half Fiend, half Lily masked version potentially of Alexa Bliss. Is Alexa Bliss going to take on Lily and become Lilith, the Night Demon? We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But is there still a connection with Alexa Bliss and the Fiend? What was the end game at WrestleMania 39? What were the plans heading into 2023 with Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss? How was that storyline going to play out? What was the rewriting to the ending of that story from WrestleMania 37? Truly, we will never know, but we absolutely cannot rule out the possibility that Alexa Bliss still has some form of connection to the Fiend. Will she play a female version of the Fiend? Is she even part of this faction? Because after all, Uncle Howdy has been targeting lost souls, forgotten people, and Alexa Bliss isn't exactly forgotten. She's really popular. People are absolutely desperate for her return. And so does she really fit that Uncle Howdy mold of 2024? We'll have to wait and see. What do you think? Get down in the comments section as always and share your thoughts and opinions. And as always, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. Catch you in the next one.